In a news update for Saturday morning, April 14th, 2018, weekend edition, morning edition. Well, as you know, at 10 o'clock tonight, our time, Syria, or 9 o'clock our time, p.m. tonight, Syria was struck in various strategical targets, and other nations also joined in with the U.S. in this collaborative effort. Uh, we do know that the airport was taken out in Syria. We do know that a chemical facility was taken out. But the bad thing is, and some other targets were taken out. We do believe things were destroyed near the palace there in Syria, where they do believe that Saddam Hussein or his brother, excuse me, he might have been staying. Sorry about that. And we also know that there were supposed to be some experts that came in there to test the area with sensors and things and equipment to determine what kind of chemicals or what kind of things were there before they bombed the area. Well, guess what? They came in there and bombed the area before they even sent the experts in to evaluate the area first. Now, they knew what targets they're going to send, so I don't know. Maybe they had some special technology that we don't know about, maybe in space. Some new satellites, possibly. Maybe they were able to simply find out what was going on there in space by those satellite, technology that was. Maybe that's how they were able to tell. Sorry about that. Well, maybe they were able to tell. Some squeaky floor in here, but maybe they were able to tell. Sorry. But seriously, maybe they were able to tell that about some other technology that they had, possibly. I don't know. But they're saying there may have been more than one gas that was used. Chlorine and sarin gas. They're not going to rule it out, but sarin gas and chlorine was used on an attack that killed a lot of Syrians there last weekend. And this attack with the United States and Russia, China, and Europe and Italy are all over there too, striking the area and bombing the area in a little strategic effort as to try to. Some people are calling it or dubbing it the Armageddon, but they said they had intel, but they didn't say where they got the intel from. They said they had an assessment, but like I said, they said they tried to mitigate the areas where the chemical places were, but it looked like supposedly a chemical place was destroyed, so I hope people don't get harmed by the chemicals or biological weapons that they took out there in that facility, because they basically said that they checked it out and did a careful analysis to mitigate any people to be harmed by any chemical weapons or biological weapons. They made sure that there weren't anybody nearby or anything close by. At least that's what they claim. We don't know it to be sure or certain. Not saying that they didn't do it, but we don't really know. But this is what popped off at about 10 o'clock this evening on a Friday night. Meanwhile, in other news, severe weather is definitely causing havoc. Lots of tornadoes and lots of bad weather all through the midsection. The weather forecast has changed. It's saying that the severe weather could be in our strong thunderstorms, some strong thunderstorms, maybe a little bit of severe weather in some areas in our viewing and listening area coming up tomorrow night, not Sunday night, but tomorrow night is what they're saying. So the forecast has changed. And sorry about that, man. And it's a pretty big line there. It goes all the way from Texas to Mexico, the country of Mexico, all the way up to past Minneapolis and the Great Lakes. And there's some snow up there in Canada. There's snow up there in Canada. So it's a pretty powerful system. It's a pretty strong system coming through here, folks. It's going to be knocking on our doorstep tomorrow night, because they said it was supposed to be Sunday, but they changed it. So it's going to be nice tomorrow and windy like it was today, but the stormy weather's going to be coming in tomorrow night and over the evening into Sunday morning, instead of it being Sunday night into Monday but it's going to be tomorrow night. So it'll be rocking and rolling here probably tomorrow night. We'll probably have some thunder and we'll probably have some damaging winds and maybe an isolated chance of tornadoes here, possibly. So it'll be interesting tomorrow night after midnight into early morning on Sunday morning. But anyway, we don't know what's going on with there. We know Russia is involved with this conflict. We know China is involved with this conflict. We know the U.S. is involved with this conflict. We know that Europe is involved with this conflict. So we know there's a lot of people, like 4 or 5 countries, that are involved with this conflict. And also another thing I remember back to the war, they said this is the first wave or first strike that they did. They're going to have other waves coming in after that because there's an awful lot of ships and all kinds of weapons and all kinds of missiles and everything that are still going out to that area, out there in the ocean, the Mediterranean Sea. There's a whole lot of activity building up out there from not just U.S. There's a lot of activity coming from us, but there's a lot of activity coming from a lot of other countries too as well. So it's getting pretty interesting over there, and to say the least. So anyway, this is some of the news of what we can tell you about what happened in Syria tonight. And we'd like what said, recap, there was a airstrip that was destroyed and a chemical facility, even though these things weren't checked beforehand. They're supposed to have been, but they weren't. They just went ahead and bombed them. Kind of like similar to what happened in 9/11. And they believe that more than one gas was used in the attacks that happened last Friday. And now this is the response of the U.S. and alongside with other countries too there in this conflict. That's in the news update. And also, a weird thing happened tonight. I was outside listening to the news on the bench out there, minding my own business. And Barbara Poe comes barreling down the steps. And she comes behind me, and it kind of startled me. And so I turned on my light. She said, "Oh my God," because it was real bright. And I didn't know what she was doing back there coming behind me where the tree is. I mean, she saw me go out because I heard her behind her door upstairs. And she saw me go out. So, I was out there for about 8 minutes watching my program. And she comes out about 1:05 and goes downstairs after I turn the light on. It goes to Patricia's house. Knocks on her door. Goes inside her place till about 1:39. Then she comes on out, acts like she's going around the front, goes around the back of the building, and then comes back around the front. She has her phone in her hand, like she's trying to film me. And I'm just sitting there watching the tape, watching my show the whole time. And I wondering what she's doing. I didn't say nothing to her or nothing. And Patricia's in there with her door open with a camera in her hand, a phone or something. It's just really weird because I didn't say nothing to them or nothing. But they're acting stupid. I'm just sitting out there on the bench. I'm on the bench where I'm allowed to be. It's the area where I can be, and I wasn't bothering them. I was out there, and she had to come down there by me. Patricia would always say, Patricia said when the cops were there, "Oh, he's bothering us." Well, they're not bothering me, but it was just really weird how they were just out there. And then she goes around the back, comes back around. She's got a phone in her hand, and then she goes back inside at 1:49. Stays there from 1:39 to 1:49, then she leaves, and then she goes upstairs, and as she's going out the door, I don't know who she was talking to on the phone, but she said she would give her a call, I guess her daughter, if she needed her, but she went upstairs and went to her apartment. So I don't know what all that was about, but it was a really weird behavior. And, because it kind of startled me when she was coming behind the tree like that, and it kind of startled me, so I turned the light on so I could see to make sure it was her, because it was weird how she was out there going over Patricia's, and you got to remember it was 1:05 in the morning, and usually, Patricia's not usually up that late, so I don't know what all that was about. But anyway, I just think it was just strange. I think they just wanted to see what I was doing, and I think they were just watching me, because all I was doing was just sitting on the bench minding my own business and watching the news video. and they were just out there. But anyway, that's some of the stuff that happened here at Harbor Square last night. So anyway, there you go. And that's the news update for now. Well, more news on the Syria conflict coming up in future broadcasts. Stay tuned for more updates as they become available. Another news update has been filed. Have a good weekend, everyone.